Got another Onkyo stereo in. This one's got no sound. Of course, I'm thinking DSP because that seems to be the problem with all of these modern receivers. But this one's just a 2-channel stereo, so no Dolby Surround or anything. We'll take a look at it and see whether we can get any sound, or is this one beyond repair. I guess we'll find out once I get into it. Okay, I got another one of these piece of crap Onkyo receivers. It's got no sound from any input. This could be one of these DSP chips that's bad, right? You power it on, you'll hear the relays click. The speaker relay's kicking in. That was the relay clicking in for the speakers. So it's not in protection mode. There's no sound. I wonder if there's anything coming out of the preamp out. I can get nothing on the input. Let's just try the preamp out and see whether it's got any sound. Okay, that's my amplifier. Okay, preamp out. So there's no sound coming out the preamp out either. How about zone 2? How about zone 2's preamp out? It's probably got nothing either, but I just want to see. How do I work this? Zone 2. Zone 2 is source is... Okay, so zone 2's preamp works. Interesting. Zone 2 off. Zone 2 source. So that works, but there's no... Nothing from the main output. Okay. I'll pull the top off this thing. We're going to take a quick peek at it. See whether there's something. I mean, it's probably the stupid DSP. That's what usually goes wrong on these Onkyos. Is the DSP chip goes bad. I've seen so many of them. It's got preamp out left and right and subwoofer. It's got zone 2 left and right. It's just got standard composite video inputs with a monitor out and standard input. So this is not even AV receiver. Like, it's not a multi-channel. It's just a 2-channel stereo, which is odd. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's a regulator that's bad. You start thinking DSPs, but I don't know that this. I don't know if this one has a DSP. It does have. It is HD radio ready, and it does have a USB port on the front. So it must have a DSP in here. Let's just pop the top off of it and see whether there's anything that is indicating. Looking down the top, there's a couple capacitors in here that look like, I don't know, does that look like it's leaking? Let's get a close up. Oh, does that look like they're leaking? Does that look like capacitor juice on these caps down here? And another one back here that also looks like it maybe it's toasty. I wonder. What do you think? Think I should pull the board? I think so. I think so. Just undo the coax from here. This is obviously does not have a hatch on the bottom, so it's going to be a pain in the ass to work on. But it might be worth pulling the board and just checking those caps. Get the meter in there and check voltages and see if anything jumps out. -24 there, -25 there. Yeah, those are not open. Those resistors are not open. Zero. 0.1. I don't know what these do, but We'll get some regulators over here. 0, I think that's a regulator. 24 volts. 14. Is that a 15 volt regulator? Maybe. Might be a 15. And what's this one got? This one's got 14. And 0. And the other side of it's going to have the input, maybe? Is this the input? Yeah, 23 volts. So that's a 15 volt regulator. That one there. And you guys kind of see what I'm doing. But trust me. This is a 14 volt regulator. This is a 15 regulator here, plus 15. And this one's a negative 14. So that regulator is working because we can see the input going in is higher, 24. So those regulators are working. Is there a resistor that's open? Or something? Negative 15 supply is there. Oh, my 15 is there. I just wasn't piercing the insulation. My 15's there. And if I move over, this should be neg 15 on this one if I can pierce the insulation. Come on. That's 13. Where's my neg 15? It's in here somewhere. Oh, is it the next one? It might be this one. Neg 15. So my voltage is going up to this board here. What I have spotted right here is this capacitor. I'm just moving them on the top, and one of them was loose. And I'm looking at the trace where it goes down to on the board, and it's open. This cap here is it's open. Right, I go to the other side of the trace here. It'll beep, but on the cap itself, it's completely open. Where's my trace? There's my trace there. If I can break the mask on here. Right, that trace comes up here, you see, but on the capacitor itself, it's open. I'm going to put a wire in place of that. Unfortunately, I can't test this goddamn thing with it apart, because you got to unplug stuff in order to test anything. So I'm just going to throw a jumper in right from here over to that transistor, because that cap is completely disconnected. I'll flow some more solder there. That's one of the ones that looked like it had something coming out of the top of it, but it measures like 0.2 ohms. So it doesn't measure like it's bad, but it's loose. And this board has obviously been worked on, it looks like. I mean, there's connections on here that look like they may have been touched up at some point. So we'll fix this connection. And I don't think it's going to make any difference, but it's open for sure. So we're going to fix it. Where was it? It was right here. And then the other end of that went down to this transistor right there. It's either going to work or it's going to blow up, right? I guess all I have to do is basically tip the board back. I had to cut these stupid clips off to get the board out because it's just a pain in the ass to work on. Oh, now what have I done? I'm tangled up here. My speaker lead's tangled up behind the power cord, and yeah, up top here. Otherwise, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to work. That's the pain with these units. Is that I guess I'll find out pretty quick if it goes boom. Put the antenna on it. Nope. No sound. I believe I can still power this unit up without the front panel being connected. That way I can check some voltages on the board down here. Like the negative 15, which is only, what? What? What do we got here? We got a positive 15 here, which it is. And we have a negative 15 here, which is it that one? 6 volts? Doesn't look right. 12 volts. 6.7. This is positive 15. And this is neg 15 here. And the neg 15's got nothing on it. Oh, there it is, neg 15. Okay, neg 15, that's there. I may have been just testing it on the wrong point. Yeah, so the neg 15's there. $55 volts. Okay, that's right. That's off. No power on that. Oh, it's supposed to be. I don't have a schematic for this thing, so obviously, without a schematic, you're kind of working blind. I'm just looking at voltages marked on the board here. Pre-out right, pre-out left. Zone 2 out right, zone 2 out left. $15 volts is there. I was looking at the different rails, right? Neg 15, positive 15, 5.6. Trying to make the meter easier for you guys to see as well. There's no DC on the outputs. So I think the power amp probably works fine. But there's no preamp signal. We know the tuner's working because we can get it out from the second zone. There's some Zener diodes in here. So I think this is giving me a negative 6 and a positive 6 volt. That's one there. And that's the positive 6. That's feeding into the CPU here. I wonder if the CPU is no good. That's a possibility. It's warm. It's actually quite warm. Actually, it's quite hot. I bet you that's the fault. Let me just let me get the thermal camera. I think that's her fault on this, is that processor is bad. Because that is like it's hot to the touch. I'm gonna grab my thermal camera and we'll take a look at it with my good thermal camera. You see there's some real hot spots on this board. Over here, this is in power regulation. But the other one that's real hot on here is this chip. Right there. Look at how hot that chip is. Can you see it? You guys see it from that angle? That chip is just red hot. It is 152 degrees Fahrenheit. Like it's on fire. That chip. There's not a snowball's chance in hell that chip should be 152 degrees. I think that answers our question as to what the problem on this unit is. You see? I mean, yeah, I mean that's 154 degrees. That's in one of the regulators up here. I can feel the heat coming through the board. Must be a regulator on that side. That's warm. $180 degrees, that part, which was down here. That's going to be driver transistors and stuff for sure. Same with down here. This is the driver transistors. There's another hot part down here. Oh, that's a rectifier. It's coming up at 140. Yeah, it's warm. That one's warm. But this chip here is that's a microprocessor, and there's no way that's got to be that temperature. That's got to be shorted. That's our fault on this one. Guaranteed. Remove the power and see how quick it cools down. So I'm going to walk away from this one because, first of all, there's no parts. But even if there was parts, it's a cheap receiver. It's not worth anything. You see, even if it's unplugged, it's still warm. But watch when I power it up. Watch how fast that thing's going to get warm. Okay, power. Look at how quick that thing's heating up. Yeah, that chip shot. Okay, well, we know. I'm not wasting any more time on this one. Well, at least I'm scoring 1 for 2 today. This came from the same guy that brought me the Iowa tape deck. So I'll call him and let him know his tape deck is done, but he needs a new receiver. But I already kind of set him up for that because as soon as I saw Onkyo, I said, yeah, it's probably got a bad DSP. Well, I guess it does have a bad DSP, or it's got a main. This would be the switching, right? All your audio switching and your volume attenuation and everything will take place in here. And that would explain why the zone 2 outputs, which don't go through here, I think we got a bad chip. I think it's pretty obvious. It's got voltage, it's got the power getting into it, it's got the plus and minus 6 volts. But this thing getting as hot as it does, yeah, it shouldn't be getting that hot. There's no way. So I guess there might be a silver lining to this receiver. I contacted the fellow that brought it to me, and he was telling me that he picked it up at a garage sale. It never worked. So he told me, keep it for parts. So, great, excellent. I got output transistors in here I'm going to steal, because you never know when you're going to need output transistors. So I'm going to grab the outputs and probably the drivers and anything else I think might be useful off this, and then just toss the rest of it. So there was a silver lining to this wasting my time to find that we have a bad processor. I'm going to get some parts. So I guess it's not a losing proposition. At least I got something out of it. Now we harvest some parts. They don't make them easy to get at, do they? I forgot how much this lead-free solder actually does suck. There's with one big cap. The other big cap, they're glued down to the board. It made removing them a little more tricky. I had to break the glue. I might even keep the power transformer. I probably will keep the power transformer before I scrap the rest of it. That's another good piece to keep out of an old receiver or an old amplifier as a power transformer. You know, you're never going to need one, but it's always nice to have one just in case, you know. Like the Onkyo I converted from 240 to 120, right? I used an old transformer that I had kicking around from another old dead receiver. Another output transistor. My neighbor across the street just became a millionaire. He sold his house. Actually probably became a multi-millionaire, because I'm sure it probably went for 1.7 or 1.8 million or maybe more. Like everything else in this neighborhood, everything just goes, the prices on everything is just ridiculous. You see, we'll harvest all these drivers. I'm going to grab this entire heatsink with the 15 volt regulators on it, the plus and minus 15, even the rectifier. I'll grab that whole heatsink. When you get this opportunity to grab parts, it's always good to take advantage of it. There's another rectifier down here. I can grab this one, and that way I can just replenish my stock a little bit and not have to buy parts in case I need them. So whenever I get the opportunity to harvest parts, I will. So unfortunately, a lot of times people will take their stuff away, right? They'll just say, okay, I'll pick it up, and they take it away. I don't know whether they're taking it to try to get a second opinion or whether they're just going to dispose of it, but a lot of times people will take their garbage away, and then I don't have the opportunity to raid parts. But when I have the opportunity to get parts, I certainly will take the common parts out of it. Maybe some of these big caps down there might be... Oh, I'm going to grab these emitter follower resistors, because they are always handy. 0.22 ohms dual resistor. These are always good to have. And I think that's probably about all I'm going to get off this thing. There's some relays. Maybe I'll grab the relays. They're good to have too. And the power transformer. So there we go. Got it all ripped apart. Everything I think I need or could ever need, I've taken out of it. Got the standby transformer, a good 12 volt transformer for standby circuits, and the relay. Got the main power transformer. Grabbed the output, got all the output transistors, regulators, grabbed all the relays, grabbed a couple of the big caps, including the main filters, because it's always nice to have 8200 microfarad 63 volt caps handy. Cut up my hand doing it. Okay, the rest of this stuff's junk. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.